Why did they know my name? The pizza's really good and affordable here.
And I can put a slice in the front of my overalls. It's
That's
easy
right.
peasy.
Wow.
Bringing it back to the
Just
overalls.
as long
Yeah,
as you're not
good.
joined by your brother in the same
Pair of overalls. You could each be in a leg hole if you wanted.
Nope. Nope. Just stop right there, okay?
I did look up an obituary yesterday, actually, about the person who invented the gumdrop, because yesterday was National Gumdrop Day. Did you know that?
Wow.
You know, there's using the internet to its fullest, and then there is a gross misuse of the internet, which is, hey, let me go down the rabbit hole of some poor candy inventor who, is it safe to assume that the inventor of the gumdrop also invented other confectionery delights, or did they limit themselves to just gumdrops?
He did have a corner on the gumdrop market, but I couldn't get more. Basically, the obituary was 4 paragraphs, and I was more fascinated because it talked at length about, hey, he would wear his work overalls, and then when he would go out and sell the candy, he would switch into a different pair of overalls. It was literally about overalls. And then it was like he was in great shape. And he challenged a bunch of teenagers to an ice skate race, a year ago before he died.
Are you making this up?
No, it's literally, oh man, I can't remember his name, but yeah, there's a gumdrop guy who is in Indiana or something like that.
Well, our thoughts and prayers are with his family and loved ones.
We died in like 1913 or something like that, 1950 or something. But
well, you didn't read it very closely. Was it 1913 or was it 1950?
I think it was like the invention of the gumdrop was 13, and then he died in like 27 or something like that.
Now it's 27. Okay.
I don't remember.
I spent 14 years trying to perfect the gumdrop, and by golly, when I did, I choked on it because the gumdrop that's the way he went, just straight down the way. I think this guy died from gumdrop choking. Michael McDonald has a weird obsession with the guy who invented gumdrops, and James knows everything about Michael McDonald. Yeah. Ask James. When did Michael McDonald get his start? This is Random Facts of Michael McDonald, brought to you by James.
Sponsored by the Bittencourt podcast, Bit by Bit. Get it? Because that's a Michael McDonald song.
Wow. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Holy smokes.
I was not ready.
I don't remember, actually. Was he part of Doobie Brothers?
Wasn't he in like a doo-wop group or something before the Doobie Brothers?
I don't know. I was hoping to say.
Well, James, if you're having to look it up, that means that you're not the biggest Michael McDonald fan.
I'm not.
Ever.
I thought he was a backup singer on Steely Dan albums.
He was, but I can't remember if he started on Steely Dan. I think he started actually before. He didn't have solo stuff until 77 or 78. But I do have a very important update on Percy Truesdell, who in 1915 started producing a gumdrop with an enhanced texture, and he became to be known as the Gumdrop King. But assertions in his 1948 obituary, so he died in 48, accounts that the gumdrop had previously been a hard candy jawbreaker. So basically he made jawbreakers. Then he's like, it's too crunchy, and came up with the gumdrop, which makes sense. But then he died in 1948.
So he didn't have any teeth because he's been eating sugar candies for the last however many years. And the consistency of the gumdrop to slightly be just a little bit squirmy is how he choked, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah. He was the basis for that character in The Simpsons when Homer gets the dental plan and he says, well, I wouldn't have old Chomper here, that's for sure. And remember that guy who pops open the can of soda with this tooth?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's a pretty good, look up that guy. That's a pretty good Percy Truesdale impression, actually.
We're definitely going to get talked to by, Matt Groening and Dan Castellaneta and Hank Azaria. They're all going to look us up and go, who called our name on this? What is this?
I'm fairly certain that all of those gentlemen, in fact, every single person who has ever worked on The Simpsons has way better things to do than to listen to us riff on gumdrop inventors, Michael McDonald, and just general dental hygiene.
Let me take this opportunity to go on the Simpsons slant.
Okay.
Which one of the voices do we do the strongest from the Simpsons individually? Like, I know, Jason, you have a pretty killer. Who do you do from a Simpsons perspective, voice wise? Nobody.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Have you tried to do any voices, or are there any favorite characters that you can kind of like Hans Moleman or like?
I can probably do Troy McClure pretty well.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. But even Troy McClure, he's got this. He doesn't have the hey. He's got more of the.
Well, that's Lyle.
I know when I'm confident in singing because I'm Troy McClure.
Right. So the hey, that's the other guy. The late Phil Hartman did that voice, right?
Lionel Hutz.
Lionel Hutz. I think, Jason, you were giving Lionel Hutz then. But my favorite Troy McClureisms are all of the things he's like, you might remember me from such films as when apricots attack or something. You know, it would be a random, or it would be like some kind of public service announcement or educational school film. So I think my favorite is when Ralph goes, I want to go to Bovine University, and it's the Troy McClure where the kid goes into the slaughterhouse.
Yeah,
and you see the kid in the front as he goes into the slaughterhouse, and then you hear all of the noises of a slaughterhouse, and then the kid at the end is like shaking, and Troy McClure is like, "That's how you make a hamburger." So, but yeah,
it's not really a floor; it's more of a grating that the meat sluices through, is what he says, something like that.
Exactly.
I could do. Hi, everybody.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, Dr. Nick?
Yep.
Dr. Nick Riviera.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good. Hank Azaria voice. Yep. And Jeff, you said Phil Hartman does that.
He did. Yeah.
I can do Krusty. I can't do any of the voices very good, but I can do Krusty groaning.
Aren't we going to have to pay them if we do those voices? So
no, because we just. I mean, in post, I can just say Krusty.
Oh.
And Hankus Maria.
We could say thank you so much. We want to give
Hankus Maria.
Yeah, to Hankus Maria.
The Samsons.
The Simpsons.
Nod Flinders.
Yeah, Nod Flinders. Yep. That's a good one. Here's my
Homer Simpson.
I can't do any Krusty voices, but here's my Krusty sort of groan. Ready? It's pretty good. Oh, okay. Anyway, that's all I got.
That's not bad.
That's really good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
So obviously your job search did not take as long as you thought. So congrats again on that. That's very exciting. Were there any other either purchases or hobbies or anything else that you took on with the intent of, hey, if I've got X amount of weeks of time to kill, can I like, did you buy an accordion or, have you started making your own, I don't know, pasta sculptures a la Kramer or, is there anything else that you've picked up on with the intention that, hey, I'm going to have some time to kill, and now you don't actually have that time to kill?
I guess, I don't know. Like, I think the ambition is, hey, I'm going to have like free time to read, or I'm going to have free time to do all those things.
Just tell us what you got into. Like, what is this philosophical buildup? Just
why all the secrecy? What's
I remember I got a picture from you of a very special headset that released. And it was a big announcement, right? Where you could see kind of through it. And I happened to FaceTime you, which I hadn't been able to do in about 5.5, 6 years. So since your oldest niece, who's now 6, was a 5-month baby, you've not been able to FaceTime us because you're part of the green team. Okay. Yeah. Well,
meaning the non-Apple ecosystem.
Yes, correct. But I FaceTimed you and I laughed for a good 5 minutes as to the random human orb me character that generates within the Apple Vision Pro ecosystem. And I'm just going to say this. It was horrifying for me because I know what your face looks like. Okay. the whole time your oldest niece was trying to talk to you,
Yeah.
she's like, Uncle James looks silly. And I said, what do you mean he looks silly? And then I look and you look like a macrame vision of yourself.
Yeah.
Put on a Salvador Dali, live expression portrait.
James, the picture that you sent us, to me, it looked like they had projected your face onto a partially deflated balloon.
Yeah.
It had enough inflation at the top, but towards the bottom, it wasn't. Yeah. So that's what it looked like to me.
And Jeff, you've been to a place that it would actually probably look pretty cool in Las Vegas. You got to see the Sphere.
Oh, yeah, the Sphere.
That's what it looked like to me. It looked like they had just put James's face and stretched it
Mm.
on the Sphere,
Right.
like the Ace Ventura bursting out of the back of the fake rhinoceros.
Right.
It's just
Yes.
like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What's James going to look like if he goes to Turkey or Thailand and get a facelift in like 35 years? That's what it's going to probably look like. Hey, everybody, excited to be here.
Yeah. Shout out to our dad and stepmom's friend Sam, who, if y'all remember, when Sam went and got his facelift in Thailand, they went a little bit too tight. And do you remember Day said, you look like a 15-year-old boy, which if that's what he was going for would have been amazing. But as a established gentleman in his late 60s, early 70s.
Yes.
No doubt the 15-year-old face that he had post, and not literally, it wasn't like a face-off kind of. It wasn't a Travolta. It wasn't a Travolta.
Somebody's going to hunt down Sam.
What's your new name? Yeah. I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah. No, it wasn't one of those. It was just
boy. That's from Face Off.
Yeah. I just remember that Day was like, you look like a 15-year-old.
Oh, I got the quote wrong. It's woo-wee, you good looking. That's what it is.
Oh, that's right. That's John Travolta when he looks at, was it Castor Troy?
Yep.
I mean,
it's reversed.
Casper Broy, because we're not going to pay Bruckhelmer. We're not going to pay him.
Yeah. Bruckhelmer has money of a Truckhelmer or whatever his name is, has plenty.
You guys ever see Knights of Thunder? Maybe that's different.
Knights of Thunder.
I meant Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
The alternate.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so Jason, I think the elephant in the room that you're talking about is that James has become the recent owner of a brand new Apple Vision Pro, correct?
Yep.
And he went all in.
And this is not a sponsored podcast.
No, it needs to be, because I got to recoup some of my costs.
Yeah, it would be nice if anyone at Apple wants to send us even a single AirPod, we will gladly take it. Well, maybe not a single AirPod.
You should have shopped like a billionaire with Temu.
There's probably a knockoff already out there.
Yeah, exactly.
AirPods Pod. What?
It's the Vision Schmo. It's like the Vision Pro, but different.
They call them Vision Bros actually now, because people are wearing them out in public, just as obnoxious as can be.
You're a Vision Bro now, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not a Vision Bro at all. I'm not leaving the house with this thing.
You are our brother. You are our brother. So technically,
I know what they'll sell.
Okay.
They're going to sell like a frame knockoff without any sort of computer or anything device. So people can walk around, and they'll call it a Kiwi Vision Go.
Right.
Because it's easier to see with just a pair of sunglasses, right?
That's fair. Yeah, it's just a hollowed out ski goggle. Yeah, right. I like that, Jason. The Kiwi Vision Go. Okay.
Do they still make blue blockers? Blue blockers Go.
Oh, yeah. They made a comeback.
We should buy the blue blockers company and just call that.
No. Those blue blockers are almost $70 a pair.
Are they really?
Wow.
And yeah, when kind of that nostalgia retro style glasses came back, I've got a pair of Pit Vipers. And they're goofy, right? They're fun. So they're kind of like the old Easton sunglasses or Oakley sunglasses. They kind of look like that, a little square.
Talking about the Boz, right? Brian Bosworth used to wear.
Pretty much exactly what they look like. So I got a pair a couple years ago from the girls for Christmas. And all of my softball teammates teased me, but then they actually tried them on and they went, these are really effective. And I go, yeah, they literally cover all of your,
they hug your face.
They do. All of your ohos are going
Right.
to be protected. Right. So
Right.
that's the point, and works really well, but you look ridiculous. And so blue blockers came back as part of that, rise, so to speak.
But post plastic surgery, while your 15-year-old face is healing,
Yes.
it's probably helpful to have the full coverage that only those sunglasses would provide. So, but James, if you didn't have the Kiwi Vision Go, as Jason said, could you have hacked something together? Think like, can you take an iPod Nano and strap it inside a set of ski goggles? And can you get 80% there?
Most of the people who've tried it so far, and I highly recommend the demo because it's free, and you'll know within the first 5 minutes if it's for you.
By the way, are they wiping that thing down between demos? Because if a large sweaty gentleman like myself shows up to demo it, and then someone walks by me, they're like, "Sir, gym rules. Please use your towel to wipe off the inside of the frame."
They have a like kind of a fabric sort of covering for the light seal, basically. So there's a light seal cushion that they do have sort of like a gauze. It's a fabric type coverage.
It's like the little temporary socks.
Yep.
Right, that you're trying on shoes. It's like that. Okay.
So they'll throw it. They'll give a new cushion every time, and then they'll throw it through like the sanitizer. But again, like, at least for people to know what the future will look like. Now there are people who went out there and like, oh, like I'm an Apple, like early adopter or whatever.
Right.
And I'll get to like my experiences. The only reason, not the only reason, but one of the main reasons why I bought it is because I don't just want to be like an early adopter. Like I want to do stuff with it. I want to learn how to code. And that's another thing that kind of, intrigued me. It's just like, hey, like I'm 42 years old and I work in the med tech industry, but I don't know anything beyond like being, really good with coordination and project management. And I love that, but I want to be closer to the tech.
Let's pause there for a second. Jason, I'm assuming that we can chop that up and make that some kind of dating profile for James. He's 42. He's in med tech. He likes technology. Yeah. And I kind of tuned out after the rest of that.
Why?
So, no, I'm just teasing.
All I heard was he's interested in coding.
Yeah.
And then I went,
James, there are cheaper ways to learn how to code, by the way.
Seriously.
Instead of spending thousands of dollars on the Kiwi Vision Go. What is it?
Kiwi Vision Go, yes.
Kiwi Vision Go, yes.
But you could have, there's a ton of open source code that exists.
I was at TJ Maxx or Ross last week, and in the discounted Christmas gift section, there was a $40 robot to teach kids how to code.
Yeah.
So it looked like the robot that came with the Nintendo right when it came out.
Rob the robot.
See, James, I knew Jason.
Gyromite. You know me. Stack up in Gyromite.
Stacking up discs. Exactly. The robot looks similar to that. And I think it was $40 and it may have been on clearance for $20. You bought something that was, let's do the math, 20 times that? Oh, more. 200 times that. 200 times that. So, wow. Okay. So for your 200 time increase, what do you love about the Kiwi Vision Go?
It instantly makes me feel like appreciative of the kind of the technology that does exist that I've missed out on. I think, essentially it's okay. Like I probably did it wrong because I'm an early adopter for this thing and I totally fell behind for like a generation on all the other Apple devices, if that makes sense. So I've been out of the ecosystem and I'm just easing my way back in, but I like kind of cannonballed my way into the pool.
Yeah. I was going to say easing your way back in at a $4,000 clip. That's not really easing your way in, but we understand.
Yeah. Here we are walking along this pace of line and all of a sudden we hear,
yeah, exactly. It's James riding by on his Tron bike, on his light bike with his Vision Go.
It's a very a smug device, right? If you're really into yourself, it's very. So that's the challenge. Is James is not a person who's into himself. He's a person who likes to socialize, and so exactly.
Beginning of something. I'm just kidding.
Nobody's with me on my Tron bike.
So you're saying, if I understand you correctly, Jason and James, it could be like for a narcissist, as an example, it could be incredibly like fulfilling because it is just all about you in that moment. It's not necessarily, you said, I think it's a wearable, but it's not a shareable, if that makes sense.
Hey,
that's a nice,
look at you. It's a person that really cares about the integrity of their finely threaded eyebrows as a man. Right. They have to make sure that everything is neat. But they're also a person that will look through you in a conversation. So having a device to where you say, I can see you, but you don't actually have to look at them. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
That hits them right where they want to be. I see.
Exactly.
Okay.
I like wearable, not shareable. What other items have been sold that are wearable and not shareable?
That are appropriate for a podcast?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, listen, there's a lot of podcasts out there. I don't know that we want to become that podcast. There are things. So wearable, not shareable. That is PG, I suppose.
PG. Yeah. We have to go PG.
Yeah, we got. Yeah. No, that's a great question. Well, I mean, James, you said it earlier with the gumdrop dude's obituary. Overalls. I mean, overalls are wearable, but they're not shareable, right? I mean, if two people are in a set of overalls, they're either massive overalls. See now. Okay. All right. So besides overalls, what other wearable but not shareables exist? And frankly, I guess to that point, we should eliminate all clothing, right? Unless it's one of those like you're a horse, there's a head and a tail, like costumes. That would be the only. I mean, that's wearable and shareable. But aside from that, are there other non-clothing items that are wearable but not shareable?
I don't know. The only thing I can kind of think about would be like a rocket pack or something like that. You know what I mean?
A jetpack. Yeah, no.
Jetpack. You can't.
James has one on order, by the way, Jason.
I do. Of course he does.
Yeah, he's got his Tron bike and his jetpack coming.
The Tron bike is just a little risky out there.
Right.
Why?
Right.
Because I don't actually want people to see me. I want them to hear me. Yep. But when I park, they're going to see me. If I just go on top of the roof of everywhere I can go, they won't be able to see me. I know something that's wearable and not really shareable.
Oh, you got okay.
A wristwatch.
Yeah, I guess
that's something that when it fits to your size, it's your own.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I like that. Good. That's a good one, Jason. But James, one thing that you just said, I want to hit on before I have a question for you guys as we're all getting older is, so the early adopter thing that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. So I suspect that if you had gotten one of the first iPhones when it came out, you would have probably gone, as most people did when they got them, like, holy smokes, like this is an amazing piece of technology. And because at that time it was so far ahead of everything else, generally, that there were probably people who were the early adopters and they got to sit on the sidelines for 3, 4, 5 years after that because the technology was so groundbreaking that they didn't need to kind of follow generationally. So is it possible that you're going to be in the same boat where you said, hey, I made this massive investment, but look, I'm good for a few years because I can just watch the technology continue to evolve. Yeah. And because it was light years ahead of everything else, you don't have this direct need to like, oh, I've got to update every generation or upgrade every generation.
Yeah. I feel like it's a good place for me to hang out for a little bit, but also rather than just hang out and watch the technology continue to evolve, like I might still be able to do something. And now it's especially time for me to say, hey, if I can be part of that evolution, not in a drastic way, but like I have ideas and I can learn how to like put it in front of it and to do it like in a way that makes sense for me to
Right.
like, because again, if the cultural belief is that this is an isolating device, well, I don't want to play to that. I don't want to say like, I'm going to do things that, makes people feel more isolated. It's
Right.
for the next generation of, how do you walk around and not look like an a-hole in this thing? 5 years from now, should it just look like a pair of glasses?
Right.
But how do you keep this from disconnecting us from
Jason, you recently got to do a business trip to California, correct?
Yes, I had to spend an entire week.
Okay. And during that time, you got to see grandma at least and some other relatives?
I did, yeah. I got to see Grandma, Auntie Nancy, and Uncle Howard.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was nice.
Okay.
We were able to get together, and they took me to one of the coolest places in the world, I think.
Where's that?
It's a place on the cutting edge of
Wow.
everything when it comes to any sort of graphic interface, AI. Like it's the, I would say, the holy land of AI.
Wow.
Okay.
And to be in that particular building and to just see the way that people were interacting with one another, it was really cool, because
That's
it was
awesome.
unlike any other. Oh, hold on, James. Any other Silicon Valley place I've ever been to.
Sound effect.
Yes.
No,
Oh,
wasn't
yeah,
it
that's
that-
right.
It's the glitter in the face.
Yeah. People were very friendly, very humble.
Right.
And the nicest part about it was, they looked at myself, they looked at Auntie Nancy, Uncle Howard, and they looked at Grandma, and they went, yeah, they fit in here. And
Awesome.
for those who need to know, Grandma is, we'll just say she's a very distinguished queen. And she's lived a long time, and we're just very fortunate to have her still be so wise and full of life. And the entire time we were walking around this campus singing songs and just having a good old time.
Oh.
And as that happened, James whizzes by on his Tron bike with his Apple Vision Pro and goes, "Hi guys!" And then
goes right to Apple headquarters, where everybody else that doesn't live in touch with reality.
Yeah.
Where, I mean that. Sorry, Apple. Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Kiwi. But it was good.
Well, and the reason I asked you, I was talking to James. I got to go to Las Vegas a couple weeks ago for a huge event in automotive. So, this episode, since it is likely to be released later, this will be a couple months in the past, timing wise. But this event was a couple weeks ago as we're recording today, and so it's it's a big dealer convention, NADA. It's awesome. Had a great time. Our company and our parent company both have a great presence there. It was a lot of fun. It was actually my second time to get to go to the show.
Oh, wow.
Last year, it happened to be here in Dallas. But Jason, something funny happened with one of my coworkers, and I mentioned this to James. And so this is the evolution of travel, especially with Las Vegas.
And technology.
Technology, yep. So they have the Sphere. They had the Super Bowl there this past weekend. So a lot of stuff going on. And so I remember one of my coworkers a few weeks before NADA came and sat with me in my office. And Jason, if I can tell you, this guy was so earnest and so sincere. He sat down in my office and he closed the door and he said, "Hey man," he said, "I know we're going to Vegas in a couple of weeks." He's like, "But I just want to tell you, like, I'm not really a big partier." And I was like, okay. And he was like, "Well, no," he's like, "It just, I just want to tell you that." And I was like, "Well, hey man, like, are you assuming that I'm going to be out till like, 5 a.m. or something? Like, is there something about me that gives that vibe?" He's like, no, I just know that like sometimes when people go to Las Vegas, they get a little crazy. And I said, well, let me normalize this for you. Let me put something into perspective. I said, I'm bringing my CPAP machine. And so,
wow.
So he says, "Me too." I said, "Perfect." I said, now that we know what is expected of one another, Jason, it made me reflect, and James, it made me reflect. Like, I don't think that I'm getting older. Ugh. I turned 45 this year, so I suppose I am. I will officially be in my mid 40s. Wow, but I don't feel like I'm super old. I think I'm in this happy medium between like going back to the hotel after the sun has come up. That those days are long gone. They are far behind me.
Yeah.
But I'm also not looking for the early bird special.
Right.
So I can have dinner at 4:30.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in that kind of meaty, happy medium where, hey, I will go out and, with family or friends, have a few drinks or whatever, have fun, but not to the point of, it's not heavy metal vomit fest where I'm puking my guts out in the parking lot.
Well, I got tickets to that this year, actually.
Oh, did you? Nice. Wow. Now, real tickets or virtual? Were you
virtually? Yeah.
Yeah, you're virtually watching heavy metal vomit fest.
Have we aged out of any place in the world of just like, oh, that's a destination I want to go to? Like, I'm going to say I've been to Vegas enough to where I know what to expect, and nothing is necessarily lucrative enough to draw me back there. Like, if I'm going to go to the desert, I'd rather go to like Arizona or something like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just curious, like places that we feel like maybe we've aged out of just like, oh, I did this once. Like up here in Minnesota, there's the Boundary Waters. And it's like, I'm fortunate because several years ago, I did go to the Boundary Waters. I did portages in the canoe and whatnot. And it was great, with an ex-girlfriend of mine or whatever. But now I think about carrying a canoe and it's like, well, did I bring my back brace? Do I have, the right boots on or something like that? Am I going to stay warm? Do I have the, thermals or whatever?
I was very lucky. I got to spend some time with some pretty, I would say, significant people for the place I work. And I think a lot of it is just the people that I try and hang around with are people that they're just good people. And it got late one of the nights. And what's weird about that is if you stay out just a little bit later, but you are smart about how you consume anything, what is it? Food, any sort of booze, and you sort of pace yourself. Yeah. You can go toe to toe and have some pretty impactful conversations. And I think a lot of it, comes down to is if you're on the road frequently, if you understand how to travel, if you understand how to sort of extend your time out, it makes it a lot more pleasant of an experience for everybody else around you.
Sure.
So last week was a little bit of a blur just because I walked, I think the whole time, I walked close to 60 miles that time. Wow. I mean, it was a lot. Everyone was so excited to go, oh my gosh, we missed a lot of this camaraderie. And it's just like, this felt just, it had a buzz to it. And you carry that energy into the night. Well, the problem is night 2, I carried that energy into approximately 8:45 when I collapsed into my pillow. So it's like, you okay? And I was like,
45 a.m. or 8:45
p.m. Yeah. The only AM time I spent was like 1-ish the first night, and then about close to 1 the last night I was there. But otherwise, I kept it fairly tame.
Jason, you're saying that 8:45 p.m. night 2, you crashed because night 1 and just all the energy from day 1 and day 2 were enough. I see. Yeah. No, that you are hitting on something, by the way, that. And I know that a lot of companies are wrestling like with hybrid, remote, all this stuff. It's of course all over the media, and all of us are very fortunate to have full-time careers, all that stuff. And I know that we have a balance between in person and virtual work. But Jason, what you hit on, which I really love, is the fact that it's not always the big thing. Sometimes it's just spending time with a coworker, being able to connect with them. Off the cuff, those are important for like connection, team building, all that stuff. So definitely agree with and understand that. So James, the only other place that stood out to me in terms of aging out of is obviously Chuck E. Cheese. Feels like a place that that is where we have aged out of.
I thought you were talking about the Chuck E. Cheese mouse suit is wearable and not shareable.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
You know, it is. Well, I guess one person could wear the pants and the other person could wear the head. But for what it's worth, I'll make a shameless plug for last week tonight.
Yeah,
I think with John
I watched
Oliver.
that.
Did you see that 30-minute thing on Chuck E. Cheese? It was amazing. And I had read about Nolan Bushnell having started it and all that stuff, but I didn't realize all of the other stuff. And I remember going to Showbiz Pizza as a kid. Yeah. We went as kids to Showbiz, but yeah, that's an amazing view for somebody. So
it's pretty impressive. But yeah, I think you're right. If I'm going to go someplace where a kid can be a kid, it's Dave and Buster's, and I'm just going to order wings.
Am I the only one that believes that Dave and Buster's for kids is like a gateway drug for casinos?
It all starts at Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
Go to Mouse Casino.
Okay.
We're going to give you some food.
Right.
You might be able to win some prizes. Go run around, get hopped up on our free soda.
Yeah. Right.
And then figure out how to do math. Okay, cool. Sounds good. And then that transforms into
50,000 tickets, Jason, I think gets you a pencil eraser, right?
It totally does. But 50,000 is a big number. And then they want you to stand in this tornado booth to catch, Chucky Bucks or whatever the hell they're called, right?
Okay.
Anyway, so the girls called it, the older one called it Chunky Chip. She's just like, it's Chunky Chip. We're like, we think it's called Chuck E. Cheese. She goes, no, it's Chunky Chip. And we're like, oh, okay.
By the way, the man named Chip with a slight weight problem who's on the other side of the restaurant is like, hey, why are you calling me Chunky Chip?
Why did they know my name? It's not my fault. The pizza's really good and affordable here. Yeah. Okay. So
and I can put a slice in the front of my overalls. It's easy.
Right.
Wow.
That's a callback, gentlemen.
Yeah.
That's good. Just as long as you're not joined by your brother in the same pair of overalls.
You could each be in a leg hole if you wanted.
Well,
that would be the way.
Nope. Just stop right there. Okay. James, you have been on probation for a little while. Leg hole. You cannot say leg hole. Okay.
Sorry.
So you go from Chunky Chip to Dave and Buster's. Okay. You go from Dave and Buster's to, hey, you should go to a local casino time when you turn 21. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go, but the real place is in Vegas. And then. Then you get to being in your mid 40s with a CPAP machine. And you end up hanging out with your CPAP homie, and you're like, you know what? We're kind of done with this.
We weren't wearing our CPAPs in the casino. I just want to be clear. The CPAP was safely in my room and his room, like separate rooms. But
also CPAP machine wearable but not shareable.
Oh, now James, that is a callback. Yeah. That is a good layer. Well, hey, one quick thing before we wrap up. James, next month, as this is being recorded, it'll be released later. It is Jason's birthday.
Yeah.
Now, it's not a milestone birthday, but he is inching ever closer to the big 4-0.
Oh, yeah.
In addition to that, it is also our father, who we've never actually referred to him as our father.
What a weird formality.
Our father.
Our father. Yes. Yes. Yeah, we could have gone Star Wars or, So it's Dad's birthday within a few days of Jason's, right? So what do you guys think about having Dad as a guest on the podcast somewhere, Jason, around his/your birthday? Now, by the way, that's probably the cheapest birthday present we could get him. Is invite him to our dumb podcast. But it was like, hey, Dad, could you?
I had a good time.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's my gift card to Golden Corral? Dad, look, it's not exactly in the budget for Three Ring Circus Maximus because Golden Corral has not signed their letter of intent with
That's
us
true.
yet. Okay,
That's
maybe
true.
one day.
If he has a rider, like, say like, hey, no green M&Ms or something like that. So
in the green room.
yeah.
Could you imagine? He's got just. I told you I want a Diet Coke.
Yep.
He starts throwing it all over his own house. Right. You're like, Dad, no.
Yeah.
That's your house.
Yeah. And Dad, when did you get an assistant? Like, who is this? Who is this young mustachioed person with a headset on? Oh, that's
his
my
name
assistant.
is Sebastian.
Yeah, that's my assistant, Sebastian. Don't worry.
Yes, he's also a contract writer, and he's the primary outbound marketer for Golden Corral. And you guys have failed the test.
Yeah, wow.
You will get no mini M&Ms in your soft serve ice cream today.
Wow, that's a very specific Golden Corral reference.
I'm just saying, yeah. Or what is it?
No handful of buttermints at the end.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta say, look, anyone that gives it trouble, Golden Corral is still raking it in, man. You drive there on a Thursday afternoon, you're like, man, I really feel like I'm in the mood for some delicious mashed potatoes, maybe a side of Salisbury steak.
But it's $6.99 a head. What kind of steak is being served that they can serve it?
The most delicious kind, Jeff. Come on. We love Golden Corrals. We're thinking economically here for all the families in America, right?
I see.
They want to create the biggest family experience. Now, what would be a total ripoff? No offense to Golden Corral.
And this is not an ad, by the way.
No, but they do have a fine selection of soft drinks, including the freshest milk in all towns that they're in. Side note.
Yes.
What would be kind of a rub? Imagine that you've worked 25 years in the same place, and at the end of your 25 year, they go, we're going to have a retirement party for you. And they take you to Golden Corral. Wouldn't that just be, I mean, they say there's something for everybody.
Isn't 25 the golden anniversary?
It is.
Ooh. So that would be actually highly appropriate.
So here's what we're going to start doing. Anyone that listens to this that has worked at an organization for 25 years, we will pay out of our own pockets.
Whoa.
For you said $6.99 for you and 2 members of your family on the buy one get one free days to go to Golden Corral.
So you're talking roughly $15 plus tax and tip.
Yeah.
Okay.
The offer expires March 2024. So.
Yes.
Better hustle up.
Yeah. It's free beer tomorrow. That's the sign. Yep. James said. Yeah.
If the algorithm catches that and we have 20,000 listeners in a night and then 800,000 in 2 days from then,
there it is.
And we get 60 people that have contacted us in 15 minutes. We're doomed. I'm very sorry. Golden Corral, we really need your money.
Yeah,
please.
We want to corral some money.
Please help offset this, or one of our nieces is not going to college. That's basically the moral of the story.
That's totally it. Yeah. It'd be better if Golden Corral was part of this instead of us having to go to them and go, hey, can you hire my daughters?
Yeah, exactly. Womp womp. Sorry, no college for you.
I think we extend the invite, but next time I think we need to each take a bet on something that Dad will mention, like the over under on whether he mentions.
Oh, you're talking about like a bingo kind of thing.
Kind of.
So
Bittencourt bingo.
Well, the wild card already is the thing is that so if that's the center of the bingo card, we already know we're going to hit that. Okay.
The free spot.
The thing is that when you boys get together and do something, you do something special, right?
He mentioned Pizza Ranch. He mentions it almost every time I see him.
He is a Pizza Ranch guy. I got to tell you. Look, when we went there, Dad, what are you hungry for? Well, let's go to Pizza Ranch. I was like, sure, Dad.
Wait, what is?
Totally go to Pizza Ranch.
Is Pizza Ranch a place?
It's an all-you-can-eat buffet for pizza.
So it's like Cece's, but it's
yes, but it's South Dakota Cece's is exactly what it is.
Oh, South Dakota Cece's.
They're from South Dakota, and I got to tell you, hot and fresh pizzas, the dessert pizzas, absolutely spot on.
Are you talking like some apple cinnamon kind of goodness?
Apple cinnamon, and then they also have a chocolate brownie dessert pizza. But the only area of improvement, their salad. The thing that you probably will not expect at Pizza Ranch, that is what they do better than anyone else.
Yep.
The fried chicken.
Yep.
That's actually
Wow.
what we have to have. Dad, you can't.
That's out of
repeat
left
this.
field, by the way.
He's
Pizza
going to say
ranch and fried chicken.
The fried chicken at Pizza Ranch. He will say that. I promise you. Say, Dad, what's your favorite kind of go-to meal when people are in town?
Well, we need to record. Obviously, we will record that episode before we release this because we should really try and do the bingo. And what I'll say at the end is that's all going to be done with love. We love our dad, our father. Mm-hmm. We love our family. We're very, very lucky, and absolutely, we're happy to have him on. It does help that it is a very inexpensive birthday gift. So one trip to Pizza Ranch and a guest on our Dumb Podcast will work.
Guys, ultimately, if he's not funny, I'll just edit him out. It's okay. It's not a big deal.
Wow, that feels like and Jason, guess who's getting edited out of the will right after that? That'll be pointing and clicking, going, well, James gets diddly squat.
Yeah, you're not going to get any bit of my suitcase of Pizza Ranch gift cards. Okay.
Wow.
Sorry, Dad.
Dad, why am I out of the will? Well, the thing is that you shouldn't have edited me out.
Hey, by the way, I say the thing is a lot, or I also say the idea is. So I have definitely picked that up from Dad.
Thanks, Dad. Generational talent.